New bioengineered teeth could replace where your teeth used to be. Mountain Dew possibly revealing catastrophic events beforehand. And a very successful operation to take down child sex offenders along with rescuing 109 children. In today's video, we're going to be reacting to some of the strangest and more bizarre clips that I could find on TikTok. Let's get into it.
People are saying if this is real, then this explains a lot. Social media is in a frenzy right now because of what came out, but before you jump to conclusions, watch this. Oh, I'm sure you all know who Bonnie Blue is. She's been in the headlines quite a lot over the last few months, to say the least. But in the last couple of days, there has been a lot of leaks online about this. This guy right here, Kyle Butler, who in all the major headlines is now saying, is Bonnie Blue. Which has led a lot of people on social media to say, well, that kind of could explain a lot about why she is like she is. And I mean, you can't deny the resemblance is uncanny. So the photo emerged and obviously people were like, I don't think this is real realistically, it's just someone who looks like her. But then someone found this, which is from a podcast in 2020 which was taken down. Now, I don't know if this is 100% real or not, please let me know if it is, I couldn't confirm or deny. But apparently on Wikipedia, Bonnie Blue used to have her name as Kyle Butler, that was her real name, and spoke about having a sex change when she was 13. I really don't know what to make of this, to be honest with you. Resemblance definitely is there, but I also think this could just be a random bloke or her brother. But what would be really interesting is if this guy actually comes out the woodwork and is like, guys, this is me. And let me know your thoughts, and as always, I will keep you updated.
I mean, there's a little bit of a resemblance, but I'm pretty certain that this guy's just making false claims. That would be interesting if it just came out that that woman was a guy the whole time. It's a crazy world we live in.
Scientists are now claiming that the Big Bang Theory is wrong, and the universe, as we thought infinitely expanding, is actually on the inside of a supermassive black hole, which explains why we can't see past the edge of the observable universe, pictured here, because the edge of that is actually the accretion disk or the event horizon or the area of singularity inside of a black hole, which light can never escape. This sort of theory of everything, which physicists have been working on for a very long time, is fascinating because it explains several mysteries of black holes and several cosmological mysteries, including why the universe has edges, why we can't ever cross these barriers. These scientists are suggesting we're actually stuck inside of a black hole, and what's fascinating about it is they decided to approach this from a quantum perspective. They decided, instead of trying to come up with a theory of everything that unites gravity and quantum physics, that instead they would allow the maximum amount of compression that quantum physics would allow inside of a black hole. And the results were fascinating. The results showed that if you allow quantum physics to be the limit of your black hole calculations, that it can only get so small, it can only compress so much, and the circumstances inside the singularity are very similar to our own universe. It also uniquely explains the anomaly of galaxies' rotations. In case you're unfamiliar, about 2/3 of the galaxies in our universe spin clockwise, while the remaining 1/3 are rotating anti-clockwise. This is a little bit bizarre, because in a random universe, we would have roughly 50-50, each one spinning in different directions because it doesn't really matter. But if the universe were born inside of a black hole that is constantly spinning, then the majority of substance inside of our universe would be spinning in the direction of that accretion disk. So, is this theory correct? I'm not sure, but it is a downright fascinating one, and it also indicates that there is an infinite cosmological cycle, that the black holes in our universe create universes and create universes therein, and there are infinite universes top to bottom, almost Rick and Morty style.
I mean, that's an interesting theory. It is pretty fascinating. It just seems like a theory to try to come up with a reason for not understanding how things work. But let me know what you guys think.
I'm telling you, this is a 90% of what it looks like from the other side. It's the closest thing that I could visually present people to what we live in, the construct. Even near-death experience people see this as well. But they usually see it as a, because when I first saw it at 16, it was a ball. I saw all these balls, and I couldn't understand it at that time either. I was like, okay, well, all these are planets. They're like all these balls. And actually, the more that I started to come out, I actually saw, well, yeah, they all are balls. They all are firmaments, creations. All creation stacked on God's shells, like I like to call it. This is another image as well. Like when I first was seeing all of these different balls at 16 years old and not really understanding, I just thought, oh, that's a planet. That's a planet. These are all different planets, but they're actually constructs. They're all different universal constructs They all have a firmament. They're all on a plane. They're all created. And honestly, just through sharing this, like, it's just, when people realize this, you automatically switch to, okay, well, all these are created. We are souls. We are creator beings. And it takes you outside of the concept of taking you away from your source. It takes you back to the true essence of who you are and the true creation of everything.
I really like the theory that God has all of these other snow globes, if you will, of galaxies that he observes and he watches as his creations just do what they do. That's a really interesting theory. But why? Why would you do that? What would be the ultimate point if we're just some kind of creation in a snow globe, basically? And then there's other ones on the shelves as well that you observe. I guess my biggest question is, what would be the point of all of that? Are you just this super galactic creature that just creates things just to observe what they do? Or is there an overall purpose for these creations? Like I said, a super interesting theory. I just have so many questions on top of it.
This is insane. Something happened in Texas this week that should have made national headlines, but it didn't because we were all so focused on the military parade and Iran and Israel. But not only were 244 child sex offenders arrested, but 109 children were rescued during an investigation known as Operation Soteria Shield. And this thing was a massive months-long collaborative effort between 70 local law enforcement agencies and the FBI. It details like how these predators were luring in children, because it wasn't just through social media, but even through online gaming as well. And they suggest that these 244 could just be the tip of the iceberg, because during the operation, investigators seized extensive volumes of digital evidence, which they say may lead to the arrests of even more perpetrators. And I can't believe I missed this. So everyone should know 109 children were rescued this week and 244 predators have been caught. That is news right there.
With all the bad news that's been going on in the world, that actually is great news. And hopefully they can find more of these predators and save more of these children, because heaven knows that there's a lot of sickos out there and a lot of hurting people because of it. But yeah, overall I say that this is a great success. Hey, if you haven't done so already and you're enjoying the show, give it a like. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. I upload a video every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 9 a.m. And for everyone that's watching and or subscribed, I want to thank you for supporting the channel.
Okay, so what we have here is June the 14th of 2025. And I guess earlier today, around about 1 p.m., it was like this huge lightning that had happened, and over 50 birds fell out the sky. They all in people's yards. They on top of the houses, as you can see in the videos. And we just trying to figure out like what could have really caused pelicans, which usually be around water, to fall out the sky in a neighborhood that's nowhere near water. So if anyone have any ideas of where to make these birds fall out the sky like this, please comment below, because I did Google and I did see that this happen all the time due to lightning. And I just need someone to explain this to me. And no, this is not my house. It's not my neighborhood. It was on someone live that lived locally in Mobile, Alabama. So comment below and explain to me, please.
It was really difficult to hear what was going on in that video with all of the voices. But that is quite shocking. That would be very disturbing, just to go outside and there's a whole flock of pelicans just laying dead on the ground. And if what she is saying is true, I have not looked it up. If they get struck by lightning like that, that is a horrible situation to be under. Rest in peace to those birds. And hopefully it is just due to a storm and not some kind of toxic chemical in the sky, because that would be the first thing my mind would go to, is that they probably inhaled something that was toxic.
Chris Bledsoe said that the ET told him that World War III would begin after Iran and Israel start exchanging weapons. He said this a long time ago, and he wrote it in his book, UFOs of God. And it's a prediction he made on a podcast.
War III, full blown with Iran and Israel. Did they tell you when it was going to happen?
They told me when you see Israel and Iran beginning to exchange weapons, I could see them plainly leaving Israel, going into Iran.
And that's what's happening now. Iran and Israel are. I don't know what you guys think of Chris Bledsoe, but he's like, these UFOs, they come to me and they're so beautiful and they're together. He's almost like a mix of Bill Clinton and Forrest Gump, I feel like. I did not play ping pong with that woman. Forrest Gump didn't even see any UFO.
Now, I have not done a deep enough dive on Chris Bledsoe, but I have seen quite a bit of his clips where he summons UFOs or UAPs, and he talks about aliens and different entities. And also everything going on with Iran and Israel. It's a big thing on the internet right now, and it's horrible. It's a really awful situation that they got to go through all that. But let me know in the comments, are you guys fans of Chris, or would you like me to play more of his content? He's definitely got plenty of it out there. It's a little old at this point, but he's got some new stuff that pops up here and there. So let me know in the comments if that would be of interest to you.
Have you ever heard of water cremation? It's the scariest process.
Is it literally like jet-powered water, like piercing through your body?
I would assume.
Literally,
but
it's like getting pressure washed.
I watched this whole video yesterday, and she's like presenting like a sales pitch, and it's like water cremation. Basically, your body would take years to decompose in the ground. We can do it in 4 to 5 hours, and it's just this giant metal tank, and they just put the body in there. And she's like, and it's sanitary. I'm like, who cares about that? You're dead. It looks like a cylinder kind of thing, like a giant washing machine almost.
Like a rock tumbler.
Yeah.
No, literally.
But then
my goodness.
They open it and it's just your bones.
They literally
dude.
like pressure wash you off of your bone.
It's a pressure cooker. That's what it
Yeah, 'cause
is.
it's probably heating up
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
yeah.
Oh man,
And
the
they say-
smell.
They take your bones and then they grind them up to where that gets placed in an urn. And she's like, and it's different. Our water cremation, you're left with a really nice white dust.
Pure white bone.
So wait, they're giving you only the bones back?
Yeah, grounded up bone.
I don't understand that. Like, what's the essence of taking the person with you? Like, all of them, or just the bones is what you keep?
Death doesn't scare me. It's the way of being buried or not cremated. Or, I don't know.
Well, that's a very interesting way to be cremated, I guess. I mean, if you want really white ashes, that's, I guess, the best way to go about it. Let me know in the comments. Would you like to be pressure washed into a fine white powder? Or what would be your preferred way? Let me know in the comments. Mine would probably be just standard cremation.
You know why something evil has to ask permission to come into your house? It sort of goes back to this old belief that nothing evil, nothing negative can enter into your life, can enter into your home unless you give it permission. See, we naturally have this protective barrier surrounding us. Some people call it guardian angels. Some people call it, a protective spirit. But we are naturally protected from these sort of things. But these evil, these negative entities try and break us down and get us to open that space, to allow them to come in. And so our homes, where we live, where we love, where we share intimate moments, right? That becomes a protective space. And this evil entity cannot enter through that doorway until you give it permission. Now, this story comes out of North Carolina. There was this woman who said when she was a young girl, she grew up in a small home up in the Appalachian Mountains. And she said when they first moved into this house, she remembers at night hearing what sounded like young children out in the woods laughing and saying things and calling her to come outside. And she would see shadows moving across her window like someone was walking around out there. She just ignored it, and she really had no idea what was going on. And she had heard stories, she had heard rumors from friends, that if anything evil comes to your door or invites you outside, do not listen to them, do not follow. Well, this one particular night, her parents left her in charge of watching her brothers and sisters. And she said they were running around the house playing when all of a sudden she got kind of this sick feeling in her stomach, like something was wrong. And she said her brother started screaming and started freaking out and crying. And she's like, what's going on? Like, what's wrong? And he says, they're coming for us. Like, they're going to get us. They're coming. And she's like, what are you talking about? Who's coming? And he just kept saying, like, they're coming. And all of a sudden they hear boom, 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 like a knock at the front door. So she runs over to the window and she looks out. And she said at the front door was this young boy, with an old-timey haircut and wearing sort of like this blue jacket and blue pants with these like black boots. And she said he just looked out of place. She knew something was wrong. So she calls out to him from behind the door. Yes, like, what do you want? What do you need? And she said this boy responded, please, let me in. Please, let me in. And she's like, no, I'm not supposed to open the door. Mom and Dad are gone. Like, I can't open the door for you. And he's like, please, it's cold. Let me in. And she said, no, you're going to have to go somewhere else. I'm not opening the door. And right as she says that, the lights in the house started to flicker. And she said she took her brothers and sisters, they ran into their mother's room, and she closed the door, and they all just started praying. And finally, their parents got home, and they felt safe again. And she said within a couple weeks, it was all over this town that there was a young kid who disappeared. And she felt like that had something to do with whoever was knocking on the door then.
It turns out these ancient Amazonians hacked the soil somehow, and modern science just figured out exactly how they've done that. For centuries, explorers found patches of mysterious black soil scattered through the Amazon. It was richer, darker, and way more fertile than anything around it. And they called it Terra Preta, literally black earth. No one knew what it was. It was thought to be volcanic. Others believed it was natural miracles taking place. But now scientists have cracked it, and what they found is insane. These ancient people in the Amazon weren't just living in the jungle. They were engineering it. What they were making was called biochar, a type of charcoal made by burning organic material without oxygen. So somehow they've made it an oxygen-depleted environment, it's quite hard to do. You can't just do it in the open air. And then they buried it along with broken pottery, fish bones, and compost. And the result is soil so rich, it still grows crops hundreds of years later without any added fertilizers. It's still nutrient rich after hundreds of years of growth. It's basically the polar opposite of modern farming, which destroys the soil. This improves it. And the best part is scientists now say we can recreate it. No more pesticides or all of that other crap that we use now. We could do this. Biochar traps carbon in the ground for thousands of years. That black dirt that those ancient people made could literally be the key to saving the planet. Imagine soil that just never becomes redundant. You could revitalize so many different areas using this technology. But the real question is, why did they stop making it? What happened? How were they able to make it? And why aren't we doing it right now?
From my understanding, this has been known for quite a while. I never knew the name behind it, but anytime my grandfather would disc his garden, he would always burn it so that it would char the land so that when he tilled it, it would be extra black. He always loved having black dirt. So I definitely believe people are still doing this.
A new type of bioengineered tooth grows in place to look and feel exactly like the real thing. And what we're looking at here is not the real implant, that's an AI-generated image, but what we're talking about is research done at Tufts University School of Dentistry by these fine gentlemen right here on coming up with a brand new type of dental implant that allows you to grow a tooth. Basically, what it does is it fuses with the gum and the existing nerves to mimic the form and function of a real tooth, and it grows in place with no bone drilling required, no more drilling. So basically how it works is they do a smart implant, which is an artificial tooth featuring a biodegradable outer layer containing stem cells and a specific protein that triggers the cells to mature specifically into nerve tissue. And this is important because, as the dentists point out, natural teeth connect to the jawbone through soft tissues and rich nerves where they can sense pressure and texture and guide how we chew and speak. So we think about teeth as just sitting on our gums, but realistically they're more like this. They are organic and a biological component of our body. They have a life on the inside, I would say. They have connections to nerve tissues, fibers, their own marrow, their own pain sensors. They're not just rocks that sit in your mouth. And for years and years, we've been treating them when they fall out like rocks that sit in your mouth. This is an image of a standard dental implant. You will get these things drilled in and your teeth attached to these screws in your teeth, and your body always treats this as a foreign object because it is. It's literally a piece of metal. But thanks to the research published here with this article by these researchers, surgical considerations toward inducing proprioceptive feedback in dental implants, what this will actually do is this will implant into your teeth and grow into place and it will feel more natural, more normal. It could integrate with the tissues, with the root fibers. I think it's very cool, and I think that having your teeth grow in naturally and look like this is going to be a lot better than screwing them in like this right here. The way they say it works is that the implant is at first smaller than the tooth it's replacing and has a layer of rubbery nanofibers that expand as the coat biodegrades, securing it into the soft tissues that line the socket and not the bone. It eventually sizes up to fill in the gap. Because of the stem cells, you're quite literally growing tissue around the implant tooth. And I think that's really cool. It's minimally invasive. It has less impact on your mouth. And I got to admit, it's got to be better than this. This feels like medieval medicine to me. I'm glad we're hopefully moving away from that.
One thing that I'm always worried about is losing my teeth. I'm not necessarily worried about losing them in the aspect of, oh man, I won't have any teeth, because that's why dentures and partials exist. But I do not like the idea of having things screwed into my jaw. I would much rather either have just regular dentures or something like this where, oh, I can have this little rubber pellet put into my gums and it grows a whole new tooth from it. That sounds a whole lot better than having your gums drilled into. Now the real thing is I would really like to see the tooth, because is it really a tooth or is it some kind of hard object that resembles a tooth? That would be the next thing that I would really like to see. So hopefully we'll have further updates on this.
Okay, I might have gone too deep on this one, but the Mountain Dew conspiracy is, you'll see. So apparently every big marketing campaign they do for an upcoming new flavor coincides with a major world event, and it's never a good one. And the one they're dropping in 2025 might be a little concerning, because the names of their major flavors always seem to have a hidden message behind them. Take Mountain Dew Maui Burst, for example, which was released and preceded the wildfires we had in Maui back in 2023. Maui Burst. Which, by the way, those fires were also hella sketch to begin with, and a lot of rumors of foul play involved. Let me know if I should cover those some other time. Also, Mountain Dew, DEW, like direct energy weapons. You know, those lasers that shoot down from above and set things on fire. Okay, that part's a stretch, but these other flavors there's something else. Like Star Spangled Splash, which came out in 2024, the same year that bridge collapsed in Baltimore. You remember that? Where that container ship randomly crashed into a bridge and it just completely fell apart. Another kind of sketchy catastrophe. Well, the name of the bridge was the Francis Scott Key Bridge, named after the author of the American national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, Star Spangled Splash. In 2001, Mountain Dew released their classic Code Red flavor, you know, like big emergency, all hands on deck type of disaster, and also happens to be the official hospital code for an active fire. Well, 3 months after this release, the most devastating event of US history occurred on the 11th day of the 9th month of the year, September. I don't think the algorithm likes that word. Of course, there were also many fires involved, ones that melted steel girders in perfect 45-degree angles, yet somehow left passports completely intact. The list goes on. I've got more flavors that'll blow your mind, and the one they're releasing this year might give us a glimpse of what's coming next. But why Mountain Dew of all drinks, the unofficial sports beverage of gamers and virgins? Well, the history of this drink is honestly just as shocking as what they used to put into Coca-Cola, if you know what I mean. Just have a look at the name, Mountain Dew. What's the first thing that comes to mind? Probably something like a scenic mountain landscape spotted with refreshing drops of morning dew, right? That's exactly what their marketing team today would want you to picture, because they wouldn't want you to know the real story. The drink was originally invented by two brothers, Barney and Ali Hartman, in 1940 as a tangy citrus soda in the same category as tonic water. And they created it because they wanted a better mixer for their whiskey. And it sure did the job. According to them, when they mixed their new drink with whiskey, the resulting flavor tasted like moonshine, which is bootleg alcohol typically distilled illegally, popularized during the Prohibition era when booze was banned for 13 years. In fact, it tasted so much like it, they decided to name their new drink Mountain Dew, which was a popular slang term for moonshine in the 40s. Yup, Mountain Dew was originally made for mixing with whiskey and is named after illegally distributed alcohol. Like, imagine 30 years from now, they release a grape flavored soda called Lean or Scissor. Despite its sketchy origins, Pepsi Cola saw promise in the drink and bought the Mountain Dew brand in 1964, which largely expanded distribution across the United States and Canada. Pepsi still owns the drink today, and they've been involved in some pretty sketchy business themselves over the years, like the infamous Pepsi coup of Chile in 1970, where the chairman of Pepsi at the time worked with the head of the CIA to overthrow Chile's new socialist president. Yes, this actually happened. Apparently, this guy was a threat to the profits of Pepsi bottling factories in Chile, and so the company got involved and helped overthrow their government. Was this collab between Pepsi and the CIA the start of a much larger psyop that we see happening today? Because as the years went by, their marketing team continued releasing new flavors of the drink with some questionable names, like their popular Pitch Black flavor, which apparently coincided with the largest IT blackout ever back in 2024, the CrowdStrike outage. The one that affected 8.5 million Microsoft devices, with critical services and business operations being disrupted. Their Infinite Swirl flavor preceded the insane hurricane season that wouldn't end in Southeast America and featured multiple Category 5 hurricanes. Purple Thunder is another recent flavor that also happens to be the name of a classified anti-tank missile defense system experiment performed by the IDF over 22 years ago. The IDF, like the Israeli Defense Force. Is there a connection to something here? I don't know. Anyway, moving on. There's also the well-known Baja Blast, which was originally released in 2004, but we have seen bigger marketing pushes for it lately. Some tie it to the 2023 Ensenada shootout, which took the lives of 10 people in Baja, California, Mexico. Baja Blast? Yeah, okay, this one's kind of a stretch, I'll admit. But the newest flavor coming out in 2025 is Baja Midnight. And they're really pushing this one. It's almost kind of weird. Taco Bell hosted a full-ass press conference type event just to announce it, which will be exclusive to Taco Bell, but what could it possibly mean? Speculations are ranging anywhere from more global power outages and blackouts, like the Iberian Peninsula blackout we saw in Spain and Portugal at the end of April, to some big paranormal reveal, because you know, midnight is so spooky. Or maybe even us hitting midnight on the doomsday clock, the one that scientists update every year telling us how close we are to nuclear apocalypse. Midnight. It's currently sitting at 89 seconds, the closest we've ever been in history. Perhaps Baja Midnight is alluding to the clock striking 12. Does Mountain Dew really know what's coming next, or is this just a huge viral marketing campaign with some pretty dark undertones?
Now, if some of those are actually true, some of those are just too coincidental. Now, I have not checked the time frames to see if the dates released are accurate to what this guy is saying, but the names alone are kind of like, wow. I don't know, Baja Midnight, I can't really see anything coming out of that, but who knows? I would have never have thought of these kind of conspiracies being out there. It's not a bad one at all either, actually.
I know this is gonna sound crazy, but have you guys ever seen stars move in the night sky? Like, I've been out here for about 30 minutes now, okay, and I've been watching these formations like I do every single night, and you'll just see whatever it is sitting there in a formation, like 4 or 5 of them. They're not in a straight line, they're all separated, and then they just keep dispersing like it's in different star formations, or at least what's supposed to be star formations. And they're fast. I'm talking about fast, like faster than a satellite or even a jet that would be in the night sky. And do keep in mind, I mean, obviously jets, aircraft of any kind, you know, they blink. And I've seen like 20 just tonight, and they're way up there. I'm talking about like at least above our atmosphere or damn near close to it. Like, for example, okay, that is obviously a plane, right? You can see it blinking. Okay, these things are way above that plane. So hold on, I'm gonna try to catch one. Look, there's one right there. It's not blinking, it's just going through the clouds. But look how fast it's going. There's so many of them out here. And then they'll just stop in place and look exactly like a star. It's crazy. Look, like this one. This one just stopped. It just stopped moving. Now it's just sitting there. Crazy. I guarantee if anybody went outside right now, they'd probably see at least 10 of them in not even a 10-minute period. It just happened again, but look how bright this one is. It stopped right in the middle of the sky. That's not any known star. You can't find it on a star map. It's weird, dude. Somebody else please tell me that they're seeing this right now, because I'm so confused.
Now, I don't normally play this guy's content very often, but this one actually strikes home, because almost every single night when I walk my dog, I can tell a plane from a satellite, but sometimes there's just this white light that looks like a star normally, starts moving around in different areas. And it's normally more than just one. It'll be one over here, there'll be one over there, all over the place. And they're moving in ways that is not like a plane or a jet, maybe a drone. But again, it's just one solid coloring. And unless you know your stars, you would not know it any different from another star. It looks just like a star. I definitely do see them. So let me know in the comments, do you see those things in the sky as well? And I do have a star tracker. and it tells me where satellites are, where the planets and different stars are, and nothing ever comes up for those things that move around in the sky. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and end today's video. I hope everyone had a good Father's Day weekend, and as always, I want to thank you guys for watching these clips with me. And with that being said, have a good day.